Today on the Star Citizen website, we're going to kind of go into a couple different world building discussions and community based things. I'm going to start this video just saying that this was kind of a cursed video. This is the third attempt at this, so bear with me just a little bit. Although it will probably sound pretty straightforward and quicker because I'm getting closer and closer to that polish that some folks have requested in the past. So, on Robert Status Industries' website, below this 5-day-old video post they have here at the top, which we're still waiting for tomorrow's, I'll talk about that at the end of this video, there's latest comlinks. And in the latest comlink section, there's 3 things I wanted to hit really hard here. Mainly because they're about gameplay and there's stuff that I can kind of glean information from. There's some nice screenshots in this one. I'll probably dig into that just for a moment. But mainly I'm going to focus on the stuff that you're here for. You're here for the gameplay. The Lore Maker team requested people to post up different questions that they gladly answer. And this has been something nice to see. Multiple weeks now, the Lore Maker team has dug and dug and dug into a variety of topics, and then they've come back with products. In this case, it's just a few questions they've answered and highlighted into a nice package. And this is where you would get those questions from, by the way. This is where they would go. So be sure to post here. In the Spectrum side of the house, you would go to Star Citizen, ask the devs, and then flag your post for lore. When you go to post, you can choose which section you want to put it under. One of them is lore. And if you look here, the lore post, you don't need that many votes to get up there. So I would recommend having a couple org mates, friends, stop by, log in, and vote up your post. You know, the newest ones only have like 9. That's a really strong vote right there. Like, I mean, it doesn't take much to get noticed here. So under Lore Makers, this is what they posted up. The Lore Making team talks about a few different questions. Who was behind the assassination attempt that happened in the past to Imperator Costigan. Now, Imperator Costigan is no longer in the picture. There was a new Imperator voted in. There is a transitional period, but the Costigan family is no longer considered the future of the Imperator group. The Imperator is the person who runs day to day the Empire, and they have to answer to a few different political bodies, and but they are the kind of the guiding pusher for a lot of different things. And then they kind of set the tone, and then the other elected bodies kind of say yay or nay, or we're going to fund this or that. So that's kind of an interesting thing. What I did find really cool here was this right here. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that type of drug, but this type of Sheehan drug is known to produce dangerous and intense side effects in humans. So I thought it was kind of funny how the illegal drug trade has actually gone that high up. But it turns out that they are showing that people that were involved with that drug process are actually attempted to assassinate a standing Imperator. So, how common are Asperia ships? Asperia ships are basically, in this lore post explained, to not be that uncommon. Basically, they phrase it as functional collectibles, and they want to make as many as their chains will allow them to make. So they have these production assemblies that kind of drag through multiple ships at a time, and they can produce as many as they can. And no, there won't be as many as Auroras, but there will be as many as they possibly can build. And they basically say here, look, based on gameplay needs, that will determine whether or not there's a lot of these visible, not based on lore. Lore will not be a restriction on the number of Asperia ships. I wanted to mention that even if you have LTI or 10-year insurance or some other great insurance package for an Asperia ship, such as the Prowler, do remember that you have to keep in mind that these Asperia ships, you will have to get insurance on them, and the insurance process is not going to be linear. It's going to be based on how many other ships are being lost. I like the Prowler because that's a good working ship that you'll constantly see blow up and complete successful missions, etc. It's going to do a lot of dangerous things. It's a drop ship. It's a stealth drop ship that doesn't want to get caught. When it does, problems happen. So if, let's say, there's 5 different missions that are completed with Prowlers and one is a failure, well, that guy's probably not going to be waiting too long. But if there's 20 missions and 5 of them are failures or something like that, suddenly everyone's timers for the next future insurance claims is going to go up and up and up and up, and it will scale because there's only so many assembly lines for these ships. And then the ship has to physically complete the assembly line and then be shipped across the entire star systems to reach you. So there's a logistical system to this. And if it gets blown up in the process, guess what? Your ship has to go get reclaimed again. I'm not saying you'll ever lose it, but I am saying that you do have a piece of paper saying you own it until it's delivered again. So bear that in mind, that you want these ships to be common. I know it's a really interesting reaction. I've had conversations with collectors and people who love collecting rare things with rarer insurance attached to them. And I've explained that to them, that just because you have the best insurance, you want to make sure that that ship is going to be available, especially if it's going to be a daily driver or if it's going to be a ship you constantly use. The Asperia, though, is also interesting because in the case of the Prowler, for example, they have technologies that they have licensed to other companies, such as air dam technology. And that anti-grav tech, I believe, is in other ships. I'll have to double check how that looks, because the Redeemer has some of those type of things, but then it turned out they were shields, for example. So I've got to be careful with how I say these, but the gist is that the Prowler, for example, is a ship that has extremely exotic technologies on board that are designed to complete different philosophies of use. The Asperia Prowler is not just meant to land on the ground. I want to take this moment to mention that it's also good at landing stealthily on ships. It can turn off its main thrusters and switch over to anti-grav tech to be able to get close to a ship, if not grapple with it or hover literally like a millimeter above it, and then to open up its doors, which are air damped to protect the pilot, and outpours the dropship team. And then the ship would stay there waiting for them to take the ship or lose or have to come back or steal whatever they're going to steal off this ship and then come back onto the Prowler and then take off again. That's the fascinating thing about the Prowler, is it's a unique ship that not really anything else kind of meets that specific build out, that it can do 2 different very unique mission roles and a very specific play style. And that is one of the things I think Asperia and other companies that build these functional collectibles really shine at. So when you're talking about these ships, also I like that they the folks that are handling these type of unique ships, I think of the Glaive, I think of the Blade. They're very cool because you can train your org mates in how to handle these enemy ships, how to dogfight, alien vessels that you will be fighting. The Vanduul will be coming, and being able to fight them is something handy. So having like that Red Force type combat, being able to practice and see how they can turn, what advantages you have and don't have against them, it is very valuable. So I see these ships as a valuable part of the fleet. I see them as a valuable piece in the kit of every player. So in the last Imperator election, I alluded to it at the top of this, there was a new candidate chosen. And it was done through the website. Anybody that could register an account went and could vote. That is going to change. So they've made clear that we're going back to the old system. We're still in place. This was a nice confirmation of this. And not only will the voting be in-game, the voting will only be for citizens. Now, this citizen does not mean you're a citizen automatically just because you bought a game package or just because you own a ship or something like that. What it means is you have to earn citizenship. So this won't be rolled out until that point. At the very least, the citizenship requirement won't be rolled out until you can become a citizen. But the main way that everyone here is going to be made a citizen is simply completing the game Squadron 42. Also, there is the possibility that people who complete Squadron 42 will earn the right to purchase an F-8C or a true F-8 Lightning fighter, which are the staples of the Squadron 42 game. But we'd be able to buy them in the PU. So that is a long-standing discussion point. I don't know if they're actually going to confirm that. We'll see. But a citizen cannot just be earned through combat. They left open some kind of loopholes here. They say that in the lore, at least, when you go through it, they say that citizens can also citizenship can also be earned through community service, or simply applying, basically being a captain of industry or helping out the empire when it really desperately needed it, or helping the navy out with some really cool stuff. You can then just apply to become a citizen. They'll be like, "Yeah, you did a lot of cool stuff. You're in." And I'm keeping it very basic here because it is. It's not. It doesn't seem to be a process that is intensive in any way. It just simply means you have to do enough to be good for the UEE and not be a criminal, and you will be into the citizenship process. But most of us will simply just complete Squadron 42, get the cool, hopefully patches and jackets and such, and hopefully have access to new cool ships, and also instantly become citizens. But basically, if your family's in good standing, you are yourself a good person, it shouldn't be too difficult to become a citizen. Now, Whitley's Guide, the most recent post was a while ago, but Whitley's Guide had an interesting discussion about citizenship, and they talked about how citizens can own multi-system corporations, pursue political office, and also even work in the UEE government in positions in the advocacy, uh, and get favorable looks by local law enforcement supposedly. But we'll see how much of that is allowed to be done by players. And I think it's also important to note that you may need to have a lot of clout in order to get those type of positions and be accepted to be running, things that are literally the bedrock of the UEE, be able to represent them. It'd be an interesting day if anybody could just run for that, and just get thrown into that position without any track record. Much like a real politician, most of the time they usually have to earn that and trust with the community. So I thought it was also interesting to note that citizens have an easier to obtain UEE trade licenses, and so they can then buy and sell from the Xi'an and the Banu easier than people who are not citizens because they're more trusted. And possibly they have a lower tax rate. So there's a lot of benefits to being a citizen. We'll see how far that actually gets a player. And once again, we have to factor in that if you want to blow up some enemy ships once in a while and get in piratey things, you're probably not going to be able to do that in UEE back space if you're a citizen. So there is some downsides to this. I think also pirates will they will be able to tell if you're a citizen. And I think they're going to use that as like a way to test you. I think at EVE Online, for example, we have plus 10 and very folks that are very plus 10 security status where you're like a really, really goody two shoes. And then you have people that were like negative 10 where they were like the feared pirates, or at least they thought they were. Doing both myself, I can tell you that it wasn't that big of a deal. But I can say that security status was something measured by many folks to tell if they're gonna have a fight on their hands, or if they can just hold your ship's ransom and do dastardly things. So it is something to think about, that a citizen may be picked on a little bit more in a lawless part of the society unless they're very careful or they're traveling with a large group of friends, like any good citizen should in a dangerous location. So they mentioned the Imperial Cartography Center and the Carrack. And I don't really have much to glean from this. We already knew the Carrack was being rolled out in the civilian hands. It literally is in civilian hands now. A bunch of people have use and love the Carrack and all its capabilities. There is an actual informally named UEEN Carrack. And that's its nickname by its crew when you talk about the original Carrack that was in the UEE Navy. It's not actually called that. It's a shame it isn't. That's all I gotta say. I really don't have much to say here. It is what it is. This food flavor section, if you're into RP style things, or you're just interested in doing meetups and such for Star Citizen, all the different all those different types of meetups, I would recommend checking this out. There's descriptions here of each type of fruit and what they taste like. So if you're trying to make a mixed drink or a cake or something else that has these things, there's actually some pictures in that event on too in a minute. But this is kind of how you want to surf Star Citizen. You want to like when you go on the RSI pages, you go into like this, for example, and then you go, oh yeah, I remember. There's something really cool in here. So in this event right now, there is. I usually like the less polished posts that are like directly to like where they're interacting with the community. And in this one, when I was reading it, I noticed there's a few different food things. I thought they were really cool. Celebrating the month. It's neat. This one is the one I liked. I really like that. I'm a sucker for food, and I think they did a nice job on it. But I think of this type of cake here and the treat it is, and then I go back to the lure makers and I think of like it would be even more enhanced if like it had like some type of RP-ish type sentence or two that was talking about how it had chibozo fruit and lunes and really went in depth with that. It'd be really cool. But I thought that did a nice job, and this was a really cool event. I really don't have much else to say. It's nice to see more Hercules skins. Yeah. So, food flavors. Quantum sense of material. So, in the lore, they already answered this. This is an example of this question never should have been here. They already mentioned that the epoxy here, this heat-resistant epoxy used in mounting of ship thrusters, until it's cured, it's extremely dangerous when you go into warp. So, the game side of House, all the development teams got together and they said, we need to have more interesting and exciting ways for players to do missions where they collect salvage or have to travel with material just given to them by a manufacturer. And how do we make this more exciting? And they had the ideas for you can't warp with it. It's time-based. There's also like highly explosive. Just if it gets hit, it blows up, if I remember correctly. And all of them have different rules. If you warp with quantum-sensitive material, it'll become explosively unstable. If you finish the timer with the timed quest, it will blow up. And if you get shot with the stuff that's extremely explosive, it will explode. Anyway, so that's kind of the three that if I remember correctly, are right now available. We tested the timed-based ones because we were trying to use them as props on Division recently. And on Division's set, we had a wonderful fireworks show, and we had a lot of fun with that, waiting for the sun to rise in a place we were shooting. And for a moment, we had the sun back. That's all I'll say about that. But we already knew this. We already knew that it was extremely heat-resistant epoxy used in mounting and repair of ship thrusters until it's cured, like as in mounted to the ship thrusters and put together with the ship. It is extremely explosive. That's the lore. That's what it is. We don't need more lore. So I just want to mention that like this is kind of a shame because this is a wasted question right here. This is an example of, we see this all the time on the gameplay side, but I've rarely ever seen that on the lore side of House, where something gets asked like that and then it gets upvoted and everybody there just didn't do the research. Just kind of interesting. It's kind of like, this is the question right here. I almost read this as, can I use blades with this specific ship so my turrets can be used for my pilot seat? And it's like, that's what I'm reading here. It's like, it's the same dang question. It's like, yes, they can. Yes, they can. Just different variation levels based on the amount of computer space you have. Yes. Like, yes, the same thing here. We've already answered this question. It's epoxy. The epoxy, until it cures, is dangerously explosive when exposed to warp. I don't know. Anyway, the Sheehan ship, named the Santok Yai, is named that. Why is it not named the Santok Yai L? Now, the Santok Yai is a ship that literally means like the Great Fear, I think is its actual name, which is kind of neat. A ship that creates genuine fear is the official name in the Xi'an language. And in the Xi'an world, the meanings matter a lot. So they talk about this right here. This is what the whole question is about: is why doesn't it have this extra designation? And once again, I'm no expert on lore. I can tell you from gameplay perspective, having yet another thing to say, it's going to end up as an acronym. Like this is gonna be. This isn't. I'm not even gonna use this name. I'm literally gonna say the STY. That'd be basically its name, or the Yai. I'll just call it that. Because this name's huge. It's hard to pronounce. It's huge. It doesn't really make any sense to me. Like especially from a gameplay perspective. But hey, the lore is cool. And from lore, I can say that they seem to be kind of going through a renaissance with trying to keep everything the same, trying to standardize the way things are language is being done. They mentioned that this ship predates the idea of having this extra designation for it being put into the human population. So this ship should have this, and this question is correct. This is an example of a good question. In fact, I want to actually bring this up. Well, that name's unfortunate, but this fella, had a good question. And this is, by the way, how it looks like in the weeds when you're looking through the forum and you're seeing different questions put up. And what I also like about this is you can see other people asking this, different things from the community, answering the question, asking more up, and why they upvoted it, why they give answers. It's kind of cool. So, yeah. There is a renaissance going on with the lure team where they're trying to standardize all these different issues. I do not expect this ship to be renamed. I do not expect you to pull open your hangar or go into game and see this extra designation at the end. Just expect that it is there. It is a legacy, and now this is a collectible. Because if they release like 20 more Xi'an ships over the years, you will have all these designations at the end, whereas this one will not. And that's pretty neat. Nice little thing. So this is an example of the lure team taking a step forward. They officially declared Wamburger's 150th anniversary as August 7th, 2801. And it is probably not a coincidence that while I'm posting this, it is August 7th, 2801. They said, look, we don't have an exact date, so now it is. And unfortunately, the lure team cannot act as quickly as people would like, I think. Sorry, it's not. That's a month from now. They tricked me. Since we haven't established a founding date, now seems to be a perfect time to do it. August 7th, 2801. I read that as, since now this is the founding date, now seems to be the perfect time to do it. I thought they meant today. I apologize for that. So it's a month from now. So we're currently in July. Sorry if I scared you into thinking you lost yet another month of your summer. We are in July 7th. So a month from now, we will be celebrating the Wamburger's 150th anniversary. And for the record, I hope I have that day off because I'd like to do like kind of a sit down with a few folks. Whoever shows up, I'd like to go maybe to let's say the Wamburger in New Babbage. I think there's one there. And it's a really cool one. It's right next to that big outside, the interior, but feels like it's outside bar. It's like 2 stories or something. So screw it. On August 7th, hold me to it. I'll set my alarm. I'll set my calendar up. And on August 7th, some way, somehow, I will be at that Wamburgers, and I will be in game. Feel free to add me. And I will literally just walk up to random players and ask them if they know it's the Wamburgers 150th anniversary, and I'll buy them free burgers. Anybody who shows up, they all get one. I don't even think it actually is the 150th anniversary this year, but yeah, it is. Okay, it is. Just confirming before I make a fool of myself. But yeah, either way, I'll just go there and start buying people free burgers on August 7th. It'll be a good time. So, who or what is Lorville named after? I love how honest this is. So they talk about how that Lorville was like a cool name, trying to emanate the mining towns of the old west of the United States. You know, those gold rush towns that kind of got hinted at in a few different things. And they talk about how they later had to backtrack about what exactly, well, how the heck did they get this name? And I'm not going to use his voice, but I'll tell you that a certain Constantine Hurston would not be happy about just having some random name applied to their famous city. But I would say that the lore being designated as local occupational residency and being just a suitable location, and that the neighborhood basically named it Lorville. They added the ville at the end. Is fine. That's fine with me. I don't think it'd be fine with the Hurston family, but it's fine with me. It's kind of funny how they named the planet, but they never named the city. But I guess Hurstville never would have sounded good. I guess that's the point. And that maybe, I would have loved to have seen, just for the record, this is an example of an opportunity here. CIG, should really take ideas like this, and it would be awesome if there is a Hurstville or a Hurston land or something, whatever you want to call it. Some ridiculous, it should be over the top and ridiculous. Like the visionary founders of the Hurston family and all their kids that are up on that wall in there inside the central business district go and they founded a city. They thought it was the greatest thing ever, but it was in a poorly chosen location downstream from Lorville. And you make it really easy to find. Like have like these ancient roads that are basically falling apart, but they're not quite gone. So you can leave if you know which gate to leave from, say gate 1 or gate 2 or something. If you go from there, you spawn a vehicle, you can drive down this desolate road. And down this road, if you follow it a few ways and you avoid the salvagers and the enemy, the bad guys that are kind of hanging out there that are kind of shouldn't be there, and you avoid the wild animals that are in the future going to be in the game, you manage to get out to this place, and you go through this big gate. It's Hurston land, and there's still automated turrets that stop ships from getting in, because that's remember that's kind of Hurston's thing. They go, that family would never want anybody to go into an embarrassment. But if you use a land vehicle, you can sneak through. Maybe the side of the gate or something's been busted open by the salvagers or something. Inside, there's the ancient ruins of the original attempted city that the Hurston family envisioned their workers to living in. And it'd be awesome if there's like automated robots or automated just messaging, just screens on the wall that like explain what they thought was a good idea. Posters from an ancient land, ancient time from like 100 years ago or whatever. I thought that would be amazing. Little things like that would make this game excellent. And you don't have to model the entire thing. Just have a little experience. It's less than like 20 minutes to explore and have a couple loot drops in the middle of it. And all of a sudden, players would want to go out there and other players would want to go out there. And then how do they interact when they're out there? Makes a fascinating world to build. See, that's kind of the whole point is you just give everybody the tools to make the sandcastle, and they'll make their own sandcastle and also break other people's sandcastles. So just something to think about there. If you want ground combat and you want to get people excited about that and get interested in using ground vehicles, give them something to do with them. So just a thought. It's a shame that it's just, a cool name. I appreciate the honesty. I think also embrace it. This is the model best practices town, but down the road was the original mistake. And a lot of the ideas that the new town tried to expand upon that were good, they kept, and the bad they got rid of, and they toned down the thing. It's like, oh, you think Lorville's bad? Go down the road and go check that out. What do you mean? Oh, hit gate 2 and follow the path. It's like, oh, okay, that's exciting. That's different. That's new, and that's what you need in this game. Outdated battleship. I love that they mentioned that it wasn't so indefatigable. Indefatigable. It is not able to be tireless as it claims, is what they're saying. This word only means that it is tireless. It is untiring, and it got tired, and it broke, and the Vandal beat it or something. And they joke about that it proves that itself is not in fact tireless. I don't know why they use that word. Why not just use tireless? Just please, please, please keep things simple. Okay, so that is the lore maker section done. Now, the lore maker's questions. I hope there's more of these. I enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed it. This section. We're gonna jump over to subscriber promotions. I am not a fan of this. I know that's kind of the chorus at the moment. I know that's a very basic thing to say, whatever. But they use skins for the 100i as giveaways this month for the subscriber promotions. So if you're a subscriber for the $10 USD plan, you get one. And if you're a subscriber for the $20 USD plan, you get both. And I can tell you that this is not a popular move. I can tell you that, until I'm blue in the face, that these are not the best option for a lot of folks because they simply don't have the ship. And I can tell you that even this one, for example, is a nice subtle, high contrast paint job. I like that about it. This should not be locked behind subscriber promotions. For starters, the skin is not that good. This one right here is actually the $10 one. This is the Centurion. I just confirmed it in my account. This one is the higher level plan. And I just sit here and I just wonder, like, what were you guys thinking? Like, these are simple things to nail. I know subscribers have shown appreciation for armors and weapons and such, but that's something every single player can use. That is something that we truly appreciate. And when you talk about the Centurion or the Imperator class subscribers, the $10 USD being the Centurion, the $20 USD Imperator, we subscribe because we really appreciate what you guys do. The little bonuses are nice, and they should be little, but they should be something for every subscriber. A lot of people do not have 100 eyes. It's not that popular of a ship. The one benefit of 100i is that you can spawn this ship. You can spawn it in a ground vehicle location. That's a nice little perk. But aside from that, it kind of gets outclassed by anything else in its category or its cost level. I mean, just for a little bit more even, you could get a Pisces, and it has 3 seats. Has good amount of SU, has box drops just like this can. The only thing it lacks is a bed. And to be honest, a ship this small, it's just too small. You might as well go up to a 300 series. If you really like Origin, please do. Get the 315P, get the 325A, two excellent ships for their categories. And it has a bed as well, by the way. And heck, you can even get, if you want to upgrade it, you can get food and drink. But, well, the food's not in yet, but it will be. The drink's already in. But this is an example of a ship that's slightly too small for its own good. I will say that you can fit one of these in a Herc if you try really hard, and I think you have to back it in. So that's a nice thing, I guess, but there's just so many other ships in this game that are in this category that already come with other ships, or they're not really it just isn't that popular. I think that the other subscriber bonuses, I will say this, being able to fly all 4 types of freelancers is a nice touch, especially the MIS, which very few people have access to. That's a nice touch right there. These 2 here. And I'm not picking on the DUR. The only reason I'm not saying the DUR is a good touch is because it doesn't have all of its scanning systems in yet. Hopefully with the next patch, actually. I'd love to test this. I can't wait to. I'm already waiting because I want to do a big testing video about all the different scans and ping systems and how they're changing in 3.14 and then into 3.15, what to expect. But anyway, Freelancer Max, Freelancer MIS, 2 solid ships. Now, they're not even in the same category as the 100 Eyes. I mean, they're way bigger, but I just wanted to mention that. I feel like this was also a missed opportunity here. These skins, they should have been for the Freelancer series. And then they don't allow you to buy Freelancers. They say that the promotion for this month is to buy the Carrack. the Carrack. like, we're going to give you a skin for one kind of ship. We're going to give you a free fly for a different kind of ship. And then we're going to break precedent, and we're going to give you another ship to purchase, the Carrack, not the freelancers. It's like, I don't understand. And then, oh, by the way, don't forget, you get a discount on the store. Once a year, you get the coupon or whatever, or you get a percentage off. So you get a percentage off of all physicalized merchandise, or most of it, and then you also get the coupon once a year, 10 or 20%, that has a cap on it. So that's just some thoughts of mine about this. I thought the subscriber thing was kind of an interesting side effect to a lot of things. I feel like, I'm not going to say subscribers not worth it. I love the content that they produce. I love that a lot of the shows are based on subscriber income to make. I will support them to the day I die. But what I will appreciate is it's just random stuff. I will call out when it doesn't make sense. And if you're going to do 100i skins, you should have made the flyables 100i, and you should have made the buyable 100i. And honestly, it's okay to have multiple ships up. You could have had these skins, which I don't like anyway, but just for the record, I like the look of the skins. But these skins, heck, another thing they could have done, let me just clear the air right here. Paints should not be ship locked. They should be manufacturer locked. So that skin right there should be able to do like any small or even medium class ship. So at the very least, it should have done the 300 series as well. You would not have heard this uproar if these skins were usable on the 300 series as well. Immensely popular, very common ships. The 300 series, many people have. They were in the 300 series was one of the original ships to purchase. Don't forget that. The 100 series was not. So that's another reason, like, really, when you tie these things together, they should have made it for all Origin small ships. I know that would have been more work. I understand that. But still, that's the way you should have did this. So when you have something unpopular like this, you need to think of ways to tie it in with things that community can appreciate. I don't think ship skins are a good idea, but if you're going to do them, don't do the 100i. Especially lock it behind subscriber. But yeah. So the freelancers, if they were buyable, that would have been a nice touch. A lot of people I've recommended the freelancer to, just can't get a hold of everything. And I'm particularly mentioning the freelancer MIS, because most of the time the freelancers are available. They're not a very hard. I just wanted to cut in here for a minute and show that the freelancers are still available. The 100i series was snuck in, or has been there for a bit. Here's even the 135C, one of the better of the 100i series. Has a nice cargo hauling capacity. Then there's the 125A, which has, like, I think a couple more missiles. That's it. Some type of combat package, supposedly, but I still don't like them. But the Freelancer DUR is here, like usual. The Freelancer Max is here. And the only thing missing is the Freelancer MIS. So, honestly, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal for them to have the entire set of freelancers available for purchase during this month. So you test it out, you realize you like it, bam, you can upgrade to it. CC you over. I hope they still do that. They have time. Whatever. It's just is what it is. But yeah, the buyable Carrack, cool, I guess. I don't know. Carrack's a great ship, but this top part and the fact that there's no Freelancer MIS available for people who want to upgrade, who like to enjoy it, just kind of is a weird thing to me. Especially when around the corner, in just a few months, we're going to be hitting into our annual sale, and people have anything they want available to them. Why not let them have it now? That would be a nice little perk. But I digress. So we're going to kind of finish up this video and talk about like what to expect later today. I'm recording this in the afternoon, EST, on Wednesday. I was hoping to have the PU monthly report to bring into this video and kind of bring it all together, but it is not available right now. So once we have the PU monthly report, and hopefully we'll also have the Squadron 42 monthly report via newsletter, we try to glean information about the PU from the Squadron 42 monthly report and talk about the status of Squadron 42 as well, and bring it into the monthly report. There will be a video hopefully about this later today. And then on Friday, so it's going to be a bit of a gap, but on Friday, there will be Star Citizen Live. There'll be the subscriber vault update. I do not actually show subscriber information. So if there is something worth talking about from subscriber, I will try my best to bring it in without and tie it in with other sources, and not I will not show directly subscriber content. So just be aware of that. Just be aware that it is worth subscribing, particularly for the Jump Point articles. I would highly recommend doing the lower subscription and getting the free stuff, even with the 100i thing going on. Maybe wait till next month if you want to make a statement that you don't appreciate the 100i, and get a full 12 months of content you do like as a side effect of your subscription. But I would recommend subscribing, even with the 100i thing. The weekly newsletters are nice, but not really much to them. And that's about all I have for this month. This go around, I would call it. As a reminder, so when you're on the Spectrum side of house, if you ever wondered how to get back to the main page, just click up here. I had a discussion with a friend of mine, and he didn't realize that. He would literally close the entire page, go back to Robert Space Industry, and apparently he had something where he had settings on his browser that would kick him out of his account. I'm not logged in, by the way, this minute, but he would have problems with his account where he would close the page, and then he went to go back in and he had to log in all over again. So if you ever have that issue, if you ever find yourself on the Spectrum side of house and you are signed in, you can just click here and it will keep you signed in and you will be on the main page. And this is, of course, where you would go for your account. My Hangar would pop up here, your Pledge Store stuff, and more importantly, your Star Citizen shows, developer activity tracking, which doesn't show completely what's going on. That's just Spectrum. But between that and going on to the Star Citizen r/Star Citizen subreddit, you'd probably be pretty far along. There's a lot of content there. And I'm just going to finish this show with, while we're talking, I'm just going to bring up these really cool pictures. Not 334 of them, Jesus. I'm going to go to the to the main page here for the Spectrum post about it. And just mention that I always appreciate these events. I think that these type of side things are great. I think that it's really cool that the community has these unique content creators. We already did some of these other photos. That's a pretty cool one. I like Pico. I'm going to keep Pico up. The extra points for doing the little custom pin. putting the pin on there. But I would say that if you are doing content creation and you ever have any questions or you ever want to talk to somebody else who's doing something in this field, don't hesitate to reach out. I may not have all the answers, and I sure as heck don't. But I know a lot of folks who do different content creation, and it kind of feels like a lot of Star Citizens content creators are like in a bubble. We're all in our own little worlds, and that's kind of frustrating because there's a lot of good content out there. There's a lot of good things that really, I think if we all kind of got together and collaborated on different things, or at the very least pointed each other in the right direction. Here's a good resource for that. Here's how to do this. Here's how to get these type of screenshots with this look to them that glows when you have the sunlight in the background. These type of things are for the better. Don't hide in your own little bubble. You may think that you have an angle, but really you're stronger. We're all stronger together. No matter what background, language, whatever you're from, whatever you're doing, don't hesitate to reach out. And if it ain't me, reach out to people you do like. You like their content, that's who you want to talk with. That's who you want to work with. And once again, I'm going to click that button. Don't forget about that button. On mobile, it's a little different. If anybody is interested in that stuff, by the way, like little knacks about that, please put a comment below or comment me on Discord mentioning, hey, I like that type of stuff. I will gladly do a video about mobile coverage. I figured out how to do recordings on my phone a few months ago, like recording button clicks and app interfacing. And I would love to show on the browsers how to access Spectrum. And I think something even cooler that I'm kind of working on for this annual ship sale is how to prepare yourself for the F5 wars and also how to prepare yourself for purchasing on the phone in general. There's some nuances to it that I think people would appreciate, although I don't know. Sometimes I put a video out and I get 10 views on it, and I'm like, oh, I thought that would be a good content creator. You know, I mean, for example, in this video alone, I didn't bring up the Greycat armors, for example, the $15 USD Greycat armors, because there's not much to them. They're yet another armor set. I thought it was more interesting strangely for me, the lore side of things was a more exciting thing to start with and kind of continue on and show community content being created and the exciting things that people are making. I thought that would be a great way to sum it up. For the record, if you are looking at the Greycat armor sets, let me see if I can find them real quick while we're on the call here. No. It's going to be a whole thing, isn't it? So what you just saw me do was go into the pledge store and then the extras and the add-on section. Well, extras, all products, I should say. In the extras, all products section, you can sort by price. And this allows you to kind of get a handle on what's in here very quickly. If you're looking for ships, that's the way to look. If you're looking for add-ons that are like, less insane price-wise and for their size, obviously. I'm not saying ships are insane, but like I am saying that, for the size, you will see different things. These are the latest right here. You have the black cherry paints, you have the harvester paint, and you have the quicksilver paint. I think the Quicksilver looks really cool. It reminds me of an old fighter jet, like the old fighter planes and jets and such, prop and jet. I think the orange is actually the most practical. I think this is actually a great way to differentiate your stuff. It only costs $3. That's with the other ones. And the black cherry it looks neat, but I don't think it's that practical. It's more like, it's just showy, which is fine. I mean, I don't think a lot of people will have it. And then down here is the $15 Greycat sets that match. There's also a package, and I'll show you in a second. The black cherry armor, I think for armor, this is probably one of the cooler ones. The orange one is terrible, but if you have people who work for you and you just really don't like them or something, or you just need to keep an eye, I'm kidding. If you need to keep an eye on them, the orange stuff's pretty cool. So if there's a group of you and you're out in the middle of an area and you really do not concern yourself with player versus player combat, maybe you have coverage, protection, you can instruct your guards to like keep an eye on anybody who's not wearing orange armor. This is a great way to keep an eye on people and save them if they get hurt or something like that. The Quicksilver, of course, looks good. If you hit more info, you get slightly more content on them. There was a page that had this, that had a little bit more like the three guys standing together, which I thought was a great way to show the contrast of the different armors. I think that this armor set's really good. I question the undersuit. The undersuit is probably not going to come, well, it won't come with it, most likely. Helmet, arms, torso, legs, backpack. Nowhere in there does it mention an undersuit. So you'll still have to buy yourself a TCS4 because they're usually the coolest looking ones for this set. And for $15, it should have came with that, to be honest. So, yeah. I know I said I wouldn't do this, but I'm doing it anyway. Screw it. I'm already halfway through. And the orange ones, the black and cherry, it looks pretty cool. Especially because I love cherry Coke, but that's different for the day. It's a little redder than most people would have expected. It is not a suit for low profile. I think with the arms and armor, to keep in mind with this is that it's protecting you from blasts. It does not protect you that much from fireworms. Right now it will. It'll give you like a 10% or 15% damage reduction, whatever it is. But really what this value is that backpack, and that each piece of armor will undoubtedly store a lot of equipment and stuff like that. Like a lot of the industrial stuff carries more stuff, plain and simple. It is expected, though, that, and it's been stated by devs, that these will not protect you from any or only limited small arms fire. Basically, that damage reduction will be from mining, like when rocks explode. And they said that military gear will not protect you from rocks exploding like this would. Here's the combo packages. If you look here, they have them for $16.20 instead of $18 USD if you buy them in packages. Interestingly, the last time I looked, just a day or two ago, this was the only one I could have sworn with this with the reduced price, slightly reduced price. Looks like the orange one is as well, and then the Quicksilver is holding on price, $18. It goes without saying that paints always have LTI. They're literally just a paint. But the armor set, when there is death in 3.15, and then you have to respawn, and then you'll lose your stuff. If they go forward with that, and if the game's stable enough for them to do so, it'll depend on your insurance level and do they recover your equipment or not. It'll be really interesting to see how they handle that. They're going to have to add a store where you can buy for like a small amount of USD that armor again. Or is the armor just a skin where you put it onto a industrial armor set or a military armor set, light, medium, heavy, and then be able to just put that on as a skin that just is for looks, so it doesn't cost you anything. They need to figure that out and iron that out, because if you're buying something as a set that's $16, the entire set needs to be available over and over again. You can't just lose it completely until the next patch or when you do a character reset, which I don't advocate, by the way. Do not keep character resetting. Do not just use it for every little thing. CIG really goes nuts about that. But anyway, long story made short, it's an interesting thing. It's here. These sets of armor, I think, are a nice touch. It is really cool. In the dev's own words, the artist said they wanted to make something where they wanted industrial players to be able to enjoy looking cool, just like the military guys, and that they nailed it. They nailed it. I wish this armor was $5 or even $10. I think 15's a little freaking high for this, but it looks great. And I also hope that there's colors that are not these three colors available shortly after this in game that you can purchase. Just because I would hate to show off this armor and be trotting around in it, and then a buddy of mine says, "Hey, I like that armor. I want to be cool too when we're mining. Where can I get it?" And then you have to explain to them, "Oh, you gotta go buy it on the store page." It'd be better just to say, "Oh no, this is an exclusive one, but this color, this skin, this paint. But hey, you can go to the store over there in the refinery section of the station, and you can buy armor sets that are just a slightly different color. You know, they're not as cool colored." And to be honest, that should honestly be the orange one. The orange one should never have been a paid set. This should be this harvester set right here. This should be like the that place down there that reminds me of the orange box store that we will not name right now. This would be awesome to have down there as like you buy in game set, and make it a little bit of UEC. Make it something serious. So you have to earn this set. It'd be kind of cool to see guys running around with like the helmet and the chest piece, and they're like, "Oh, I'm earning the rest of the set," or just the chest piece on the backpack, the most important part for storage. You know, at first, it'd be cool to see that. I feel like that's something missing, and these sets of armor are nice. Okay, so I'm gonna call it there. I've been a little bit here and there on this, but that's kind of why I haven't really done a video in the past couple of days. There's these little bits of content that are kind of covered, and I do agree that they are difficult to catch everything. Like, for example, the Greycat stuff's already off the front page, unless I think you wait for this. I think might be here. It might be here? Question mark? No, it's not. But yeah, so it's very easy to miss these little bits of information, but it's also difficult to put them into a video and then, you know, kind of put it in the way that I think everybody will appreciate and enjoy and kind of see those insights. Like, I've been with this program since the beginning, just kind of in as a backer, and I've seen a lot of things. And I would say that one of the biggest things I've seen is price inflation. So anything you buy now is going to be worth more later. But by now, the inflation has been so high with anything you purchase on the website that I've just been kind of frustrated by it, because it seems it's becoming an artificial limit on someone who's trying to get into this or enhance their backing, really feeling like they got a value for their money. That's kind of a frustration of mine that I'm going to have to, I guess, live with and deal with. But I think that they've been trying to make it clear that the costs are trying to factor in the rarity and the actual value in game that the items offer. And I think I'm going to have to live with that. The Greycat armors are another example of that type of price inflation of what I would expect versus what it is. But I don't have all the facts. I'm somebody who's just backing, and obviously I'll be testing those sets of armor. I think I have one set of it. I have the Quicksilver, but we'll see how it goes. So I hope you all appreciated this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It greatly helps the channel. And as always, I'm always available on Discord as well. If you want to talk privately or just hang out and talk, there is a link below to the Discord that I'm one of the admins on. And there's a great group of folks there. And also, I'm available directly through RedJ, #0001. And I hope you all have a great day.